and Siddhartha asks if there's no hope for saving Meghalaya. Asaji assures him that he will rescue her. Siddhartha wonders how Asaji plans to save her, and Asaji says he'll do it the same way he saved Siddhartha. Siddhartha starts sucking out the pus from Meghala's body. Tada tries to stop him, but Siddhartha insists it's the only way to save her. Tada offers to do it instead, worried that Siddhartha might catch her disease. Siddhartha tells Tada that if he gets tired, they can switch, and they should work together. Meghala feels ashamed, crying and calling herself filthy, but Siddhartha reassures her, saying she's not filthy, and he will make sure to remove all the poison or pus. The next day, Siddhartha interrupts his meditation to check on Meghala. Shepa notices him leaving and gets angry, wondering how long Siddhartha will keep trying to save her. When Siddhartha arrives, he sees that she has almost completely recovered from her illness. Meghala and Tada kneel, grateful, asking Siddhartha how they could ever repay him. Defei and some monks come to the cave, accusing him of neglecting his monk training to be with them. Defei tells Siddhartha to leave, and the other monks support him. Tada interrupts, telling Siddhartha that he will leave with Meghala, and Siddhartha should continue his training. He asks Siddhartha to forget the promise about returning to his country and becoming a king because he let go of his anger when they were treating Meghala, and now he understands how important Siddhartha's actions are. Meghala adds that she had cursed herself, feeling angry for falling in love with him and getting her heart broken and been made blind. Now that they've met again, she feels alive and thanks Siddhartha for not only saving her body but also her heart. As Tada leaves, he tells Siddhartha that once he becomes a great monk, he should make him his first disciple. That night, Asaji is marking the tree and tells Siddhartha that on the night of the next full moon, he would die. Siddhartha asks Asaji how he would die when he looks so healthy. Asaji tells him that he will die by being eaten by starving beasts. Siddhartha questions Asaji about whether the prediction of his death is accurate and if he will truly face such a tragic end. Asaji confirms it, still smiling. Siddhartha promises Asaji that no matter what happens, he will always be his best friend and will protect him. Asaji falls off a cliff while trying to reach for some eggs in a nest. Siddhartha is meditating when he hears Asaji's screams and quickly rushes to help him. Siddhartha reaches the bottom of the mountain and finds Asaji safe. While fishing, Asaji falls into the river. Siddhartha interrupts his meditation once again to quickly rush to his aid. Fortunately, he finds Asaji safe, smiling and waving at him. On the night of the full moon, Siddhartha stops meditating and decides he won't let Asaji die, which he plans to do as he already tied Asaji to a tree branch. Suddenly, a rabbit climbs the tree where Asaji is, and it starts nibbling on the rope. The rope snaps, and Siddhartha wakes up from his sleep. Asaji is gone, and Siddhartha quickly looks around to find him. Meanwhile, Asaji willingly follows the rabbit into the forest. He walks past a bush and accidentally falls into a hole full of wolves. Asaji sees baby wolves whimpering because they're hungry. Asaji goes and comforts the baby wolves, telling them they'll get food soon. He lies down on the ground as two adult wolves come closer. Siddhartha arrives at the hole, shocked and in tears, seeing the wolves tearing Asaji's body into pieces. Siddhartha cries out in horror and flees from the dreadful sight. He runs until tripping and falling face flat on the grassy ground, mourning for Asaji. As days go by, Siddhartha subjects himself to extremely painful ascetic practices. He forces his way through a prickly thorn bush, the needles piercing his flesh. He walks across scorching fire, burning the whole of his body. He even binds himself to a tree trunk, allowing hungry ravens to peck at his body. The other monks come and chase the birds away, begging him to stop, and they understand his self-mortification. They then acknowledge he's an excellent monk, but he tells them that he hasn't suffered enough. They are worried as Siddhartha has been doing these training practices since Asaji died, to the extent that for the past 10 days he hasn't even drunk water. He passes by Defei, who finally acknowledges that Siddhartha has achieved the greatest state of asceticism. He sits atop a bed of thorns to meditate on a cold cliff, while rain pours and thunder cracks. He repeats to himself that he will become a rock, and in the storm he will become the water, but the heavy winds prove too powerful. They blow him off the top of the cliff, and he plunges into the stream of water below. His body floats down the river, and he assumes he has become one with nature. He survives as he lays on the shallow part of the stream, but he is unable to move. He lies there with his eyes open, occasionally closing them. He wonders if this is the death at the end of self-mortification that Defei talked about. As he closes his eyes, he reaches a trance state. Then he hears the voice of his mother calling out to him, telling him not to die. She then appears before him, saying that Asaji was born to be eaten by wolves to convey to him that all life is connected. Siddhartha asks if Asaji's death was to teach him the laws of nature, which his mother affirms, causing him to cry at the tragedy of Asaji's fate. Before she disappears, she urges him to stay alive, but Siddhartha didn't know this was his mother because he asked who she was just as she vanishes. He wakes up to the smell of steaming hot porridge and gulps it down in one sitting, not caring how hot it is. Tears roll down his eyes as an image of a smiling Asaji flashes before him. As he comes back to reality, he finds himself face to face with a woman who is thankful he is all right. She asks him if he would like a second serving of porridge. He looks around for a bit for the nearby monks, but smiles and cries again. He tells her that her rice porridge has saved his life. He then thanks her. As he walks away, some animals flock towards him. He freshens himself in a stream and, feeling enlightened, he beckons the animals to come closer, saying he has a story for them while he packs his hair into a bun. The animals follow him, and he tells them a story. He explains to the animals that to live is to support another life, and that eating for survival is the law of nature. He points out that if the wolves that ate Asaji were full, then his death was not in vain. He says only humans continue to fight and slaughter in vain. Because of this, a great suffering is born. He is leaving when he meets Defa standing under a tree. Defa asks him if he is running away, but he replies that he would no longer be going to the ascetic forest. Defa tells him that he will continue his self-mortification until he dies and surpass him, showing him the rightness in asceticism. Siddhartha tells him that radical pursuits are meaningless and proceeds to tell him a proverb. He tells Defa that he will not pursue extreme asceticism or pleasure, and he will instead live a moderate life, walking a calm and wide path. Defa tells him that he sees Siddhartha has found his own path, but he would continue to walk the path that he believes in. Siddhartha walks a while from the forest and is met by a group of horsemen who surround him with spears. Their general, Prince Viradhaka, calls him out as Prince Siddhartha of Shakya, but he tells him that he is no longer a prince. The prince comes down from his horse and points his sword at Siddhartha. He tells him that his family made him suffer and he would make sure he perishes. He asks Siddhartha if he feels sad and further asks him if he hates him. He tells Siddhartha to take the sword from his hand and face him. Siddhartha calmly tells him that he must be a poor soul and if he is going to kill him, he should just do it. He tells him that he does not hate him, but pities him. Prince Viradhaka is confused. He asks Siddhartha what he is talking about, and even after threatening to kill his people and family, Siddhartha is not bothered. Siddhartha asks him if he enjoys his revenge, and if it has brought him joy even once, or if it makes him suffer at night. This angers him, as he is about to strike Siddhartha with his sword. But suddenly, lightning strikes the sword, causing it to fall from his hand. Siddhartha picks up the sword and moves towards Prince Viradhaka. He orders his men to kill Siddhartha. They surround him, but instantly back off due to an unknown force that stops them. Siddhartha hands him back his sword, telling him that he would continue to feel regret until the day he dies, suffering an eternity, and that is crueler than torture, wounds, or illness. For this reason, he pities him. He hands the sword to the young general, who retreats and tells his men to withdraw. Siddhartha is meditating in front of a swamp when a person emerges from the swamp, entranced by the sight of Siddhartha meditating. He slowly approaches him and falls on his knees, saying that he wants to die, as he is the most unfortunate one in the world. Siddhartha asks him why he is unhappy. He replies that his father and mother were trampled on by an elephant and died, and his second mother died by an epidemic. Siddhartha replies to him, saying that his parents were the more unfortunate ones. The swamp man tells a story about the young Prince Viradhaka, who had abandoned his mother. The swamp man argues that the prince was cruel for letting his mother die just because his mother was a slave, so why does the prince not receive any punishments? Siddhartha replies that the Prince Viradhaka was also suffering because even though he was the prince, he had to helplessly watch his mother die. His sorrow was much deeper because he had killed countless people and even let his mother die, and the prince had to live the rest of his life filled with regret until the day he died. The prince arrives at a shallow grave where a pack of hyenas had gathered around. He chased them away with his sword. He then begins to dig out the place, which is actually where his mother had been buried. He dug her out of the ground and clung to her, crying and telling her lifeless body to look upon his face and call out to him. He says he had acted cold in front of the king aides just to please the king. He asks his lifeless mother's body for forgiveness. Siddhartha tells the swamp man that the prince is also an unfortunate person, and that everyone carries their own burdens. Siddhartha tells him that he has suffered, hence why he should understand other people's suffering more than anyone. The words Siddhartha says hits him deep, and he falls to his knees, banging his head and hands on the floor. as Siddhartha says that there are more unfortunate people out there. He asks Siddhartha that if everyone is unhappy, then why are they in the world? Why do people still live? Siddhartha places his hand on his shoulder. Siddhartha's body begins to glow and slowly spreads to the surrounding area. Siddhartha tells him that his mother had died a few days after giving birth to him, and that she now watches over him. He tells him that due to the fact that his mother gave birth to him, he was able to meet him. And just as nature has its purpose, every person has his own purpose in life, for we are all connected to all the things in nature and form a bond with them. The light spreads across the whole forest and expands further out. Siddhartha tells the swamp man that he has a role to play in life just by existing, and they were people that were saved just by meeting him, like his parents being happy he was born, which made the swamp man lighten up in realization. Siddhartha adds that even Prince Viradhaka's mother must have been overjoyed at being treated kindly by him. He tells him that the prince must also have found comfort in his kindness towards his mother, making her not feel alone. He asks Siddhartha if it is okay for him to live, and if he actually has a role in life to play, as he had killed and hurt many people. Siddhartha says yes. He asks for Siddhartha's name, which he gives to him. He tells him that he is a good person and he wishes to become his disciple. He tells him that he can't at the moment, as he is still in the middle of training and is also mourning. The swamp man tells Siddhartha that when he finishes his training and he becomes a great person, he would come immediately. Siddhartha tells him that he does not know how long it would take. The swamp man responds that he would wait as long as possible, and wait somewhere far away. He thanks Siddhartha for teaching him the meaning of life and returns to the water. Siddhartha stops glowing and wonders to himself when he taught the swamp man, and when he had said all he said, and why he said all those things. As the sun rises over the horizon, he hears a voice telling him that he had been enlightened, and he is now called Buddha, the awakened one. The voice tells him that as long as there is still life, he shall spread his teachings to all the people of the world and teach people how they should live. He realizes that he's made everyone he's ever encountered happy. He enters a trance state as his mother tells him he has attained a world, that the door of his heart has opened. She explains that people are born on a lotus flower, and when it blooms it carries unlimited potential. His mother calls him by his new name Buddha, the awakened one, and tells him to make the flower within people's hearts to blossom. He replies that as long as there is life in him, he would fulfill the role given to him. The war comes to an end as Prince Viradhaka ceases fire, and the people of Kosala were able to go back to the city to live their normal life. Tada and Megalia finds happiness, as well as Asaji, who is playing with butterflies in the afterlife. Defei and the monks are still walking their path, while Siddhartha, the awakened Buddha, continues his journey. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.